Welcome to another episode of Stack Your Points. As always, I'm Matt from the My Class and YouTube channel. Let me just tell you from the top, I have talked a lot in the last 5 hours. I've talked more in the last 5 hours than I've expected to talk in a 5 hour time span. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out my channel. Brief plug there. I'm joined as always by RJ, who likes to play silly games. RJ, how are you today?
You know what, Matt? I am doing well. I needed people to understand what happened on the live on Thursday. I will, like I said, I will change my background back, but I needed them to understand how fun our lives are so people join us on our Thursday lives because they are a treat and a joy.
You nominate Hyatt points, all right? Fine, I did it. I did the thing. I said it. Whatever. That's fair. No, definitely join the lines. 8:30 on Thursdays. Greatly appreciated if you do. We're also joined by Craig, the guy who got me this hat that I'm wearing that says Chicago Sox. Craig, how are you today?
I am doing all right. It's been a long day, but I'm here with some of my favorite people. You have finally a sustainably awesome hat on. So I'm happy. I'm good. We're here for it. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's so much nicer.
You get to see the cowlick right there.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
great.
Southside, baby.
Totally fair. US guaranteed field. One day I will go. Is it guaranteed rate field now? I don't know.
Please don't go. I like you and I enjoy your safety.
That's fair. That's fair. And we're always, as always, joined by Lonnie from the Call Me Lonnie YouTube channel. Lonnie was also ping ponging around today, as referenced in his live. I always have to find an Easter egg. Lonnie, how are you doing today?
Yeah, today was hot. It still hasn't calmed down yet. As well, the people that are watching this have no idea that we were recording late because of me, but it went literally up until the wire of one thing after another. But I want to wear a hat too, so I'm going to go grab a hat real quick. But the only one I have is the one I wore earlier, so
I can tell you right now, it's a Marvel hat.
Black
Ooh,
Panther it
Black
is.
Panther. There we go. So I called out that it was a Marvel hat. I just didn't see what it was because you were wearing it reverse in the video.
And I will probably turn it around because this is a stiff bill and I like it really stiff. So when I don't want it like digging into my forehead, not
Yeah.
uncomfortably, then I turn it around.
There we go.
Here we go.
So
I felt
there you
left
go.
out, so I put a hat on too.
Wow, the hat quotient is tripled today.
We
Sorry,
all have
wait,
a hat.
doubled. I forget that RJ always wears a hat.
We
Damn
all
it.
have our own hat to wear. We got to have a hat pun for the title now. We'll figure it out as we go. Let's just keep it moving.
Chapeau a dos? I don't know.
Don't
Anyway,
force it, Matt. Don't force it.
you know what? Sometimes I just like putting a hat on a hat. Anyway, we like to do questions first. We're going to jump into our questions. As always, our first question comes from channel member AP, who asks, it's easy to get wins early on in the game from welcome offers. I'm just going to use welcome offers. We see some creators push programs, specifically Hilton, where if you hit a couple of their cards, you get a bucket of points. But once they have a big redemption, they shift gears. After a few years, your velocity slips and it gets harder to even jump from program to program. Since the community blew up during COVID, during the world shutting down, and it's been a few years, do you think the overall community is getting stale due to these creators hitting walls, running out of things to say, or honestly, the end game is just not all that sexy and easy to push through media channels? So, do we think that things are getting stale due to us hitting walls or running out of things to say? Mm, I do think some of us are running low on topics. We find other ways to push through. Lonnie, as a creator, what's your thought process here?
I don't 100% disagree with AP on this one. Now, I'm not going to talk about any person individually or a subset of group, but as a whole, one of my pet peeves when it comes to the creator community is what I like to call the flavor of the day. And it's like literally like the Baskin Robbins flavor of the day. So as he had mentioned, oh, right now it's Hilton, and then tomorrow or last week it was Amex Platinum, and then 4 weeks before that it was CSR. The same way that we talk about new card or whatever. This is the greatest thing ever. Here are the 5 cards. You need this card in your wallet, and then literally 6 months later, I'm canceling that card. Keep her cancel. This card is trash. This card's ruined everything. This is the one card you don't need. And it's the exact same thing. But I don't necessarily have an issue with that if it's authentic, but you can tell the difference between authenticity and I'm doing this for clicks or for views, for relevancy or whatever that creator's methodology just happens to be at that time to keep that momentum going. And that's what I'm saying. I can't talk about a single creator. That would be wrong. I don't want to talk about a group of creators because there is a level of that's required, especially if you're brand new. You just started your channel yesterday. You got to go with the grain. You got to flow with the rest of the river until you get to a point where you can separate yourself. You build your own audience, you separate yourself, you build your own brand as a creator. Then you might be able to pivot a little bit away from the grain, away from that current, create your own groove in the ice, if you will, as many metaphors and analogies I can provide at the moment, to what is it that you want to do. And for me, that type of authenticity is true and true to me through and through. So I talk positively about the CSR because I hold the CSR. You haven't heard me talk negatively about it yet. And when I have talked about even potentially getting rid of it, I've been fully transparent. It's not, I would love the CSR. I'm going to cancel it just so I can not have it for a couple months. And so I can be like, hey, come back and get it and use my referral links. If you want to use my referral links, I'll 100% appreciate it. But I'm not out there going to just push it. I'm not going to shove it down your throat. I will let you know that I got them. If you want to use them, I'm not going to be mad. In most cases, when I get the little email that says, hey, someone used your referral link, I'm always slightly upset. I'm like, I have no idea who used it because no one told me that they were using it. So I'm like, I would love to say thank you. And I have no idea who to say thank you to. Other than Kit Kat, who I actually use his referral link for my Marriott Brilliant card. But going back to the question at hand, so I don't go off on tangent and RJ kills me and then edits me out later. I won't necessarily say like the community, like during a certain period of time, i.e., pandemic, that things blew up. That was a very opportune time for everyone to, if you're starting or if you're already in it, to really dig deep into the credit card, especially the points and miles game. I did it myself where I'm like, look, if we're not traveling, I'm going to come out on the other side of this with way more points, way more miles, and all this other stuff. It wasn't until the end of the pandemic I actually started my channel, but still, the creators that were in there, which were the ones that inspired me, I've mentioned this before, they talk about points and miles in ways that I don't. They were the ones that inspired me during the pandemic. I'm sitting there watching their videos and I'm like, I use points and miles differently. Let me create my channel. And I did. When I first created it, go back to some of my very early videos, like best cards for lounge access. I regret that video, to be completely honest. Why? Because everyone else was doing it. I felt like I had to do it just so I had some relevancy, so I can even gain a following, so I can get the attention for the views, so people could have a chance to see my video to hit that subscribe button. So that's why I say there is a little bit of give and take of that you have to do it or you don't. And I think it ebbs and flows where you have to go with the grain at the beginning and then you can separate yourself away. I would personally say I'm in that separate myself away. I want to stay as far away in that trough as I possibly can. But then, yeah, there are creators that have way more followers, 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, 10x, and more that I do, that is, that at the same time, they have to follow the seasonality of the credit card game because especially if you're full-time, and I'm not talking about any particular full-time creators, but I can only imagine if you're full-time, those views, those clicks actually matter. That's how your rent's getting paid. That's how your bills are getting paid. So there's some type of relevancy, and that's where I would like to say that's why I say like ebbs and flows there. Now, I'm not on that side yet. I'm not looking to be a full-time YouTube creator. I do this as a side hobby. It's fun and I like the engagement that I get from the people. And so I want to stay in my personal lane of I want to provide the information that the people want to hear in the way that they want to hear it from me. And I'm going to hold on to that for as absolutely as long as I can. And as long as I don't think of YouTube as a full-time job replacement, I think I will be able to stay there. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Lonnie. Yeah, I definitely can agree that there is follow the algorithm, and what seems to be working for one will work for you. I don't necessarily prescribe to it, but that's because I chose to do a very deliberate path of like news interpretation and all of that. I will give my opinions. I will give the thoughts that many may think are wrong, like my insisting that Citi is an incompetent bank. So I will try to zag where everyone's zigging, but I will also follow the zigs where necessary. When Amex is the thing of the story of the day, yeah, I'm going to wear that hat. And when Chase is the issue of the day, yeah, I'm going to put on that fedora. But that's also because that's relevant news. Craig, your thoughts here?
No, absolutely. So I look at it two different ways. It's the age old a chimp can pick 30 stocks and outdo or match what is it, the financial advisor hedge fund group. And I think we have some creators that truly just take that method of I could get any sub and make this work. And I think in some cases that works, right? That chaos fits for some people. It's not my particular style, but like for example, if you live in a big hub or a big city, eh, I get it. On the other end, I think that we have some people that don't necessarily understand sustainability. And again, I'm not calling out anyone in particularly, but when you look at the broader landscape, we push subs so extremely heavily. And I get it, right? For the vast majority of, I would say 90 to 95% of people, multipliers are not going to be the way forward. If you want to amass points, you just, most people just don't spend enough, right? But in any sizable fashion. But I'm also going to say this, if you got a card purely and only for a sub, I can see that every now and then. But if that's the only strategy you have, and then you have a bunch of like zombie cards sitting in your desk, I don't know if that's necessarily playing the game or if it's a sustainable way to continue on doing things. People get paid big bucks to figure out how sustainability works for large companies. And you, as the CEO of your own money, should be looking to have sustainability in how you go about doing things. We talk about Hilton and the devals. I'll say this, I'm not really high on Hilton right now, but also I still like Hilton properties. I still have a lot of love for Hilton. People, and here's the fun part. You can see, and this goes to the earlier point that Matt and Lonnie were making. Sometimes we just move with the flow of the algorithm, right? Look back 2 years ago, the only person that was truly talking about how wonderful AA was, I believe his name is Bo. Bo Travels.
Yeah, Bo and I started about the same time, so yeah, that's
Yeah.
about right.
So Bo was the only person talking about how great AA was. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I agree with that. And I think now the rewards master, and then there's me. But then now there's a random group that's, oh, AA miles are amazing. And I'm not saying that they're wrong about that. But like, where's the sustainability? Are you talking about AA miles being amazing because you can transfer to City now? Or were AA miles amazing even when you couldn't get them? So I just, I think that there's a sense of moving with the trends as opposed to doing what's necessarily best for you. And I want to say this, I'm not trying to say that's a bad thing. I want to be like very clear, and I'm not talking about anyone in particular, right? Like you do what's best for you. But I think sometimes in the YouTube space, we have moved to this idea that I need to be knowledgeable and on every single topic that relates to credit cards so my audience can ask me anything, as opposed to I am knowledgeable about the things that I care about. One thing that I'll give RJ really good credit for, she moves at the beat of her own drum, right? 90% of the decisions that RJ makes for her setup and strategy, I would not make. However, I have to respect it because she's made it sustainable for her lifestyle, right? And even if it's not for me, I can still look at what content she makes or what she has to say and say, you know what, that's interesting. That's a point of view that I did not think about, as opposed to, can I get another Chase is trash now because you can't get ink cards, or Citi's the best bank ever because now he transfers to AA and you can get a JLA flight, which, awesome, but how many people are actually flying to Japan? And is it something that you plan on doing again, or would you have ever planned to do this trip if Citi didn't randomly do that? And final thing, and I will cut it short, as the newest Citi owner of a card of a new as the newest owner of a Citi card here, Matt, I agree. Trash. Yeah.
No, that's fair. Yeah, there's there's still a bunch to unpack here. RJ, your thoughts here?
I think there's a couple of things that haven't been talked about in play. One is we are all, the people in our Discord, the four of us, we're very plugged into this community in terms of knowing what's going on, right? We see the news, we have conversations about it, we do all of that. Most people who are watching YouTube videos are not as plugged in as we are. So we're going to see more and be more tired of it than maybe the random person that they're trying to lure into the credit card community. For some creators, not all, some I really do think it's them trying to drop bait to try to get people in. So they're experimenting with different things to see how to get people in or to have their own canon of, hey, if you want to know about Hilton, go to this video. If you want to know about Hyatt, go to this video. If you want to know about Marriott, go to this video. Like their own ability to reference themselves, which can be very helpful in YouTube and algorithms, right? Matt has talked about enough topic in the news that if every video he wanted to drop a link to another video that's related to what he's talking about, he probably could. Or several, depending on the topic. If he just wanted an entire built playlist at this point, he could probably have one that's 15 videos deep. That's an asset when it comes to drawing people in, right? That is a very helpful thing. So sometimes I think it's not necessarily them being fickle, it's them being able to be self-referential in a way that is useful for them and a business, especially people who do this more as a full-time gig than a side gig, because that ability is very helpful. It is infinitely annoying if you're as plugged in as we are and as AP is, because it feels regurgitated. Whether it is or not, it feels that way because I already know why Built did this thing, or I already know that Chase did this thing. Like, I already know that you can get 35% off on a business platinum for redemptions. Like, why are we talking about this again? But if you're a random person who didn't know, that sounds amazing, right? That is life-changing information. So I think some of it is not necessarily the fault of the creators. I think it's just how YouTube works and how bringing in new people works. Some of it, I think, is if you're talking about something like football, right? If you're talking about sports, there's a million storylines at any one time that you could follow, right? There's individual teams. You can talk about just wide receivers on the Packers if you wanted, or just running backs on the Giants, right? Like you can focus so much on one particular thing and you're always going to have content for that. Yes, as Matt knows, there is a lot of credit card news, but there's not infinite credit card news unless you want to get into something so niche you're just not going to get hits, right? If you want to talk about your local credit union, awesome, But how many people are going to click on like a random credit union in a state that doesn't have a credit card like the Redstone card, right? Like nobody. So there's only so much news that people are likely, not necessarily absolute, but likely to click on. So there's a smaller pool of possible stories. And then some of it I think is people look at creators that have large followings or creators who do things right. I think my co-hosts, I would agree, do things correctly in terms of good production value, information. I trust, like if Matt or Lonnie and Craig, when he has a channel and or on this channel, says a thing, I don't feel necessarily like I need to go spend 45 minutes verifying it, right? I still do my research, but I genuinely trust what they're saying. Where I think that is a skill, and some people are trying to copy that. They just don't know how yet. Because that is a skill you learn the more videos you put out of not just like firing off at the mouth, right? That is a skill you have to learn. And when you're new, you might not have that skill finely tuned, and then you look foolish, and then it spirals you down into, I'm not getting the hits, so I gotta follow things. So it becomes that sort of snake chasing its tail a little bit. So I think there's a lot of things going on of why we all feel like this, and some of it is just pure grift, right? Like at the end of the day, some people are just out there for hits. They don't care how they get those hits. They don't care if they buy views or followers. They don't care about any of that. They just want clout and they want to sell you something and they want to do whatever. That is also part of it. It feels more personal, I think, because finance is more personal. If this was sports, like I am a fan of sports YouTube. There are so many more grifters in sports YouTube than there are in credit card YouTube because it's a bigger topic on YouTube. There are so many more people talking about sports than talking about the platinum card. And there are a lot of people talking about the platinum card, but there are so many more people talking about football. The Chiefs lost tonight. Spoiler alert, if you haven't figured this out by Wednesday or when you've listened to this video, if you're a member. Chiefs lost tonight. There's going to be a million videos on this Chiefs loss tonight. Like, I'm not even trying to be hyperbolic. Like, between shorts and full length videos, they'll probably be like close to a million or a few 100,000, right? Everybody's going to make a video if you're talking about football. But there's not that many people who are going to make a platinum video, but we're following all of the major people who are going to make a platinum video. So it feels like our feeds are being inundated. So I think there's, like I said, there's a lot going on. Some of it is just how YouTube works. Some of it is grift. You have to sort the wheat from the chaff in that way.
I'm just wondering if Travis Kelce is going to end up in tight end Catraz this week.
Travis Kelce saved my fantasy football team for one of my leagues, so Travis Kelce is allowed to live his life this week.
I'm going to tell you right now, that breakup album, it's going to be like a triple album, is going to sell gangbusters.
They need to get married first for the breakup album to be.
Oh, no, they don't. No, oh, maybe. Because we've done the hookups, we've done the boyfriends. Broken engagement feels like that should be the next one, but like divorce
like
would be
divorce.
even bigger.
Divorce is she's gonna pull out all of the Shakespeare. King Lear is gonna get a name drop. It's not just gonna be Ophelia. It's gonna be like King Lear, Titus Andronicus. Like it's gonna be deep cuts.
Craig, I'm about to say something. Don't take it out of pocket. But Mrs. Carter, if you want to beat Miss Swift to the punch,
She ain't going nowhere.
Yeah,
I wasn't talking about Craig's wife.
I know
Nope.
what you're talking about. Beyonce not going nowhere.
Yeah, she ain't going nowhere.
No.
That's fair. Just saying. You went country. Anyway. No, Lemonade was her therapy album.
Rock and roll for a breakup album. About Jay-Z? Nah.
It's fair.
Country and R&B are the same. It's just the drums are different.
Also fair.
True. 100%.
So going back to AP's question, I do think we do see like the early wins. I think what would be interesting would be, and I feel like I've seen one or two videos on this in the last like year or so, but like the concept being I drained all my points in this account. Now we're going to rebuild. my stack. Lonnie's hinted at this with United, and I'm only going to say Lonnie just because like he's on the screen with us. But like that journey of videos could be an interesting take. That's the zag when everyone's zigging. That is interesting, right? Like I blew all my Hilton points on this awesome redemption. Let's rebuild my Hilton points. Could be a pretty interesting and easy set of videos. One, because Hilton points are so freaking easy to rebuild. And two, like that is self that can create that self-referential set of videos that RJ mentioned. That is something I wouldn't mind seeing. Like from creators who I have tired of watching because of whatever reasons, if they did a video like that, okay, now you got me back. Let me see what's going on. That would be of interest to me.
You say that now. That is actually a great idea because for y'all that don't know, I actually finally actually did burn all my United miles. I'm well over 100,000 at the moment, but I did not record how you got back in a couple of months. But I would also add on to that, Matt, that it's not necessarily even for video's sake. And I'm going to talk about me because I've been very open about this. So, i.e., when a refresh come out, the big two. When Chase came out for refresh, I stayed silent for at least a month, 4 to 6 weeks before I'm like, all right, now I'll talk about it. When all that does settle, because as RJ had mentioned, it's like you turn on your feed, subscriber, new channels that are being pushed to you for awareness or whatever, everyone's talking about it. And it's you all are going to say the exact same thing. You're going to say it slightly different. You might have your own spin, your own opinion on it, but you're like, here are the changes. Like we just went through this with the Amex Platinum again. I'm going to use the other big one. I actually stayed away from YouTube when that happened because I'm like, all my subscriptions, all even Matt himself. Now Matt is a different animal. His channel is about updates and news, so that's his specific niche. But everyone's talking about the refresh and what it is and all the changes. Now I'm not talking about their opinions. I'm saying here are the absolute changes, the ones and zeros. Here's your new credit. Here's this credit. I don't like this credit. I don't see you can use this credit. And that, like I said, we're about to get now we've gone through mirror finish. Mine finally showed up, by the way. So now we've finally gone through mirror finish. And next we'll get to the annual fee finally hit after January 2nd. Do you keep or cancel? They're coming. The keeper cancels are coming. Just wait a minute. Now, on the flip side of that, that repetition, I personally don't like, where everyone's talking about the exact same thing, which is why I like to give it time to breathe. I want to actually, hey, you know what? I'm just going to try this out. I'm going to sit with my card for a minute, and then I'm going to give my honest opinions on it. And normally when I do that, I'll need to go over credit for credit, change for change. But the other aspect of it is for those that, going back to my original statement of flavor of the day, let's say they burned all their points. It's usually, okay, I burned all my points and now I'm going to pivot. It's I went and got all these Hilton cards and all these Hilton points so I can get this redemption. I got it. And now I don't want Hilton anymore. And the point that I'm trying to make is if you can predict what the person is going to say next to you or next to you, that's where the staleness, I would say, comes from, at least for me, AP. And what I mean by that is like, if I say, for example, like not my last video I did was how I bought, why and how I bought 500,000 Hilton points. I even called it out in the video. Someone's going to put in there devaluation. I'm going to hear the word devaluation. I'm going to hear it's only worth 0.5. That's all you got? Oh, you smell. No, you smell. That's your comeback? Okay, you lost that argument if that's your comeback. And say, Hilton. Oh, Hilton's only worth 0.5. It's not worth it. All right, you already lost this argument. I would love to have a great conversation. I would love to have a unique response to a video or a unique take on a video, which is why I did that video. I even mentioned a long time ago that I bought those so I can actually see what is it like to buy points? Like, I think I've mentioned it here in our podcast that I'm like, I'm about to do something I've never done before. I did the math. I did all of this. And I'm like, all right, I'll create a video about it later after I went through the entire process. Bought them, redeemed them, things like that. Some people accepted it, which is fine. And some people didn't accept it, which is fine. But the ones that are just like, oh, that was a bad move. Hilton just got devalued. Yeah, you got ignored. You're not adding any value to the conversation, those types of things. And I think AP, if I am understanding you correctly, that's where your staleness is coming from. And that it's just that itch you can't scratch. But at the same time, it is part of the game. Like, YouTube is driven on engagement. And if certain things are being gained more engagement, then yeah, people are going to do the things that get the engagement because they want those views. You got to have the views. I totally agree. Try to not to let the views be the end all be all. There has to be some type of originality, authenticity, something. At least that's what I look for when I hit this subscribe button on a channel.
I want to believe the words that come out of your mouth. I want to believe that you actually are doing the things that you are saying that you are doing.
Yep.
She's
All I
not
can say
talking to
is-
me, by the way.
No, not Lonnie. I believe Lonnie. That's why I like watching his videos. That's what I look for. The authenticity. It was to his comment on authenticity.
Yeah. It's also right. I don't put out a video every single week. I just time, personal life, fatherhood, all that kind of stuff. But at the other times, I don't feel like I have an authentic video. So the next video I'm actually writing, I've been writing for 2.5, 3 weeks now. I'm trying to make it as authentic as possible before I record and give it out to the public. I just don't want to put something out there for the sake of putting something out there. I want to, at least speaking for myself, my viewership. When you click on my video, I want you to click because you're actually interested in what I'm about to say.
Absolutely. Thanks, AP. We'll move to our next question. It comes from Arnali, who asks, what is the best ecosystem if you were planning a sabbatical and going to travel for, say, 6 months? You'd be slow traveling and spending a month at a time at each international location. So, best ecosystem if you're planning a sabbatical, 6 months, 1 month per location. RJ, what is the best ecosystem for you here?
Not Amex.
That's fair.
That's look, and I am an Amex fan, but especially if you're going to places in Asia or different parts in Europe where it's not London, Amex is going to be a challenge. I would say though, this is going to be dependent on the person because I have Visa and MasterCards. What I would pick is going to be different than Lonnie, Craig, or Matt, right? Like we all have different cards. I think whatever the ecosystem you want to build points passively in, whether it's United or Delta or Amex, if that works for where specifically you're traveling, or Chase or whatever, just default to and all that setup, right? Because if you have, say, the CSP, right, for $95, use that. Yeah, it's 2x on travel. It's not the greatest multipliers in the world, but if you're trying to maximize, you're going to end up with a bunch of cards with probably foreign transaction fees. And that's just going to defeat the purpose of building the points in the first place because you're overpaying for everything. So I think some of it's just going to be what cards don't have foreign transaction fees do you have? What ecosystems do you really care about? And then just enjoying the fact that you're spending 6 months out of this country. Like, you're seeing so many things potentially if you're doing something like this. So I think the ecosystem matters more to your particular tastes than for us to be able to say, absolutely do Capital One. I don't know how else you could do anything else, or Citi or Chase or whatever. But that's my take on this.
No, that makes a ton of sense. Lonnie, 6 months sabbatical. How are you approaching it?
United Miles. I'm not going to say I've traveled for 6 months straight, but United miles are one of the most versatile currencies in the entire points and miles game, in my opinion. That's me saying that, not anyone else. But I'm also saying that off of experience. I have traveled the world and gone through countries and continents purely on United miles. One, you can use them to purchase anything: a flight, a hotel, a rental car, food. Yes, even food, especially at Newark, those SIBO Expresses. You're not going to get the best value, but whatever. I'm not saying you got to get the best value. I'm saying that you can use miles.
Not even the best food, but
My point is, you can use miles for food. You can put it on United Card and use your miles back at to save some of your charges that are on there. I already mentioned rental cars. You can use them for hotels. They're part of Star Alliance. So anyone that's in Star Alliance, you can actually use your United miles as well. So if you're flying in intracontinental, sure.
enters between intros within.
Yeah. All of that and the hotel chain. If you're doing all that travel, inter and intra, you can use United miles for those as well. They're by far one of the most versatile. So in this hypothetical scenario, if I was going to do that, I would literally build up as many miles as I can. And while I was traveling, primarily be using my United card or cards to continue doing that. Because if I'm in a crutch, if I'm in a clutch, I know I can accept those anywhere. And no foreign transaction fees because they do the conversion for you in the United app.
Nice. Greg, 6 months sabbatical for you. How are you approaching things?
I guess my question is, where are we going? Because I think that makes a bigger difference for me. But I will say, just for me, I have two in mind. It's going to be One World. So pick your One World partner. If you want to do an Avios as an Avios as an Avios, by all means. If you want to do Alaska, go for it. AA, sensational. And the reason I'm saying that, within One World, and I'm pretty sure within Star Alliance as well, but I know for a fact in One World, I can do stopovers. I can have a stay someplace for 2 to 3 weeks, and it counts all on the same itinerary, same points. There's no extra travel or points that need to come into play for there. I can also do it for cash, right? And so you can have these super long layovers. And for me, the other item that I'm thinking about, so that covers my travel, I'm looking at Bonvoy. I may not think that Bonvoy is the greatest hotel program domestically, but I can say from experience that high level Bonvoy status, both in Europe and Asia and South America, it gets you pretty far, right? Now, granted, my I've only done 2 nights in South America, right? That was a layover in going in somewhere else. But any Bonvoy stay that I've done, gotten upgraded, got great service. I'll also say this: there's a trillion Bonvoys. Actually, there's 9,000 properties, but there's a Bonvoy nearly every place that you want to stay. And I'm assuming if you're going on a 6 month sabbatical, that you're probably going to some places that are a little off the beaten path. Hopefully, I will say, get a Ritz card, get an Atmos Summit card. If you want to keep it really simple, just get an Atmos Summit, and everything you swipe that thing on is going to be 3x. You'll build points really fast. It's your catch-all card for everything. It's a Visa Infinite, so you have protections. Keep a MasterCard with you if you're going to certain places in Europe or Vietnam. But other than that, I don't think you need to really be too honed in. I would agree with RJ, stay away from Amex unless you just want a card for lounges, but in which case, if I'm being realistic with you, those transcontinental or intercontinental flights on points are going to be really cheap. You can get into business class lounges. And if you're flying enough One World and spending enough, even if you're in economy, you can get into the lounge. You don't need to worry about it. So I just think that's probably the way that I would go about it. high status on Bonvoy and One World. Call it a day. And if you want, say, hey, I hate Bonvoy, switch it out with Hilton or IHG. Same thing.
Marriott points aren't worth anything.
And if you're going to Scandinavia, do choice.
Well, Lonnie, you stink.
Just trying to be the guy from my last statement. That's all.
Lonnie throws on a hat and suddenly becomes every Chad from every chat room ever. No offense to Chad Money Minutes.
4chan Lonnie.
I was about to say, you're about to get a comment down below for that one, Matt.
4chan Lonnie. All right. I'll take 4chan Lonnie as long as it's not 8chan Lonnie.
It's one of those days, everybody.
Moving on.
Yep. So if I'm planning a 6-month sabbatical, going to travel, going to do the slow travel, Marriott, Hilton, or IHG are probably my best bets for hotels. And I've got transfer options galore for those 3 hotel chains. Built can play a good amount depending on how I earn and build up build points because it transfers to all 3. We're going to talk about a possible new way of amassing a load of built points when we get to the news. So that could be a play. But transfer currency, if you're looking at Hilton, you're probably your best bet for your international travels for those 6 months, buy the points ahead of time. Half a cent per point, get the bonus, build up a massive pool, buy as many as you can, get your partner to buy as many as they can, transfer theirs into your account, have your stack of points. And use Top Cashback or Rakuten or whatever to do that. And then transfer even more points. Airlines, pick your poison. It's going to depend on where you're flying. Star Alliance is so big that generally Star Alliance can get you pretty far regardless of where you're going just because of the number of Star Alliance airlines in Star Alliance. Is that to say that Star Alliance is the best? No, just Star Alliance is going to have options. SkyTeam can also get you pretty far. They have a nice variable set of partners as well. With SkyTeam, if you're looking to go to Southeast, and it's going to depend on where you're looking to travel for those 6 months. Like those 6 months, if you're going to Europe, is going to be a different set of partners than if you're going to Southeast Asia. It's going to be a different set of partners than if you're going to the Middle East, or you're going to Africa, or you're going to South America. And if you're spending 6 months in the Outback, you'll burn. It's your sabbatical. Just be safe out there. I'm going to emphasize, as always, transferability. City gets you a good number of Star Alliance partners, but if you want to go the One World route, City now gets you a American Airlines. You're good to go there. You can use your American Airlines miles to book JAL. You can use them to book Alaska. You can use them to book all sorts of different airlines. It seems that Starlux may be joining One World at some point in the near future, so that can be your gateway to Southeast Asia through Taiwan. City gives you different opportunities. American Express can give you some opportunities, but using Amex cards while traveling, probably depending on where you're going, may not be the best option. Yes, they're largely accepted in good numbers of places, but again, this is going to depend on where you're looking to travel because Amex acceptability in Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, and if you want to go further south, Malaysia, Singapore, etc., is going to be very different compared to 6 months in France and the Benelux countries and Germany and wherever else. Wherever you're looking to go, double check make sure that your ecosystem works best there. Is going to be the first thing. And then hotels, go with the ones that work best in pretty much all situations and buy yourself whatever status works best for for making your life a bit better while you're traveling abroad. Hilton Diamond abroad, Hilton Gold abroad is fantastic. Marriott Gold abroad is going to be just peachy. And if you have platinum or titanium, even better. right? And if you've got IHG Platinum, even traveling internationally, IHG Platinum is going to be just fine for a lot of what you need, what you're looking to do. So status, even like mid-level hotel status, opens the world as your oyster when you're outside of the US. So I would say anything that travel transfers into those three brands, anything that, works best with how you're looking to travel around to countries and continents. If you're doing 6 months and you're doing like a month in Vietnam and then the next month is Jordan or Turkey, and then your next month is going to be somewhere in Europe, and then your next month is somewhere in South America, just make sure that everything can work together. But there's plenty of options. Built can be a big one. City, Capital One, any of the transferable currencies can really work out. It's just going to be what you're going to do to earn more points along the way. Obviously, no foreign transaction fees. The Atmos card could be huge, especially if you're going down a one world path. Thanks, Arnali. We'll move over to our next question, and it's two sets of questions in one from Keith and Double Animal Fries. Keith asks, "Do you have any preferred hotel sub brands collections, say Hyatt Regency or Kimpton or Hilton Canopy?" And Double asks, on the flip side, are there any sub brands that you generally avoid or have issues with? Of course, we always want to do research to research the individual hotel, but curious if you've noticed some trends. Craig, I'll jump to you on this one.
Yeah. So I have a few places that I really enjoy. For Hilton, you all have heard me talk about this ad nauseum. I love a Waldorf Astoria. I That is still my favorite luxury brand, chain luxury brand of hotels. I also really like Motto hotels for Hilton. They're smaller. It, they are not a family or a couple travel brand hotel, but if you are traveling by yourself for business and you just need a room to crash and keep it moving, it's great. I also really enjoy Curio. As far as Bonvoy, love a Renaissance. I've not stayed at a Renaissance that I've not enjoyed, and I think that they have a little bit more flavor into how they present themselves as hotels. Same with Autograph hotels. And I love a Sheraton because for all those people that will say my room has to have a room in it, all your rooms have a room in it. There you go. It's a it's an instant hack. Points hack alert. And then my wife would be very upset if I didn't mention this. La Quinta Girlies for Wyndham. So we love a La Quinta. Only nice out west La Quintas or La Quintas on small towns. They got to be new. And then for some lesser known places, Best Western. I love a Best Western Plus signature and then a Best Western World Distinct. And the reason I love that, and something you'll notice with all of my choices, they don't really have the brand identity is that every single place you go to is going to have a different feel, but they are all going to be very consistent in the quality in which you receive. I think we don't talk about Best Western in the community a lot because it's not flashy. You're not going to be finding a bunch of like super duper high quality, ultra luxury hotels, and their points aren't really worth a ton. However, you can get Best Western Diamond status matching almost anything. Oh my God, excuse me. Almost anything over to it, and they'll treat you fantastically. And also, the world distinct, some of the best hotels I will ever be in, right? Like, you can go to Dublin and be in an old pub, like a 400-year-old pub, and it's a hotel now. It's awesome. As far as brands that I avoid, most Marriott economy brands, except for Fairfields. So, particularly courtyards. I hate a Marriott courtyard because why are you only giving me a $10 credit and I'm a goddamn ambassador? I've given you 100 nights and 20 grand. Actually, a little over 20 grand. If you don't stop,
23 grand.
23 grand. If you don't stop playing with me. And Westons. I have not had a great experience with Marriott Westons over the last 2 years. And again, this year in particular, I've given you 23 grand and 100 nights. What do you mean I just get a $20 credit for breakfast in Napa? Stop it. Or if I'm in Philly, what do you mean that there are bugs running across the floor? This is a $400 a night room. Stop it. Stop it, people. So all the 5 or 6 Westons I've been at, I've just been under underwhelmed. And also, they sell these Weston beds. Let me assure you, those beds are not great. The greatest hotel bed I've ever had was a Wingate at Weston in Vineland, New Jersey. That sounds really random, but it was brand new, renovated. It's the nicest bed I've ever slept in a hotel
The Wingate. Interesting.
in Vineland, New Jersey. That is the important part. So that's it for me.
I'm gonna have to go investigate to see if the Wingate in Vineland is still around. May or may not be. All right, thanks, Craig. RJ.
So I like a Conrad. I like a DoubleTree. I like just a regular Hilton. Like some Hiltons are nice. I'm sure I would like a Waldorf Astoria were I to stay there. I have not had the pleasure of staying there yet. I even like a Hampton Inn. Like a good Hampton Inn is solid. It's good. We're good. I am also, as I have said many times on this program, I am traveling with just me in a room. Like even if I'm traveling with family, my room is my space away from everyone else because I don't want to go to prison. And if I was around my family continuously, I might. So RJ gets her own room. Like, that's how this works. I don't have to necessarily have the room within a room because as soon as I shut that door, everyone else goes away. So there's that. For IHG, I like a Crown Plaza. I like a Holiday Inn. Like a good Holiday Inn is underrated in this community because it's not flashy, but it's very good. And then Intercontinental and Kimpton. But yeah, like I'm good in the middle. Like a high end occasionally. The ones I don't like are the ones that usually if a room is sub $100 a night, there's a reason that it is. Like there is. Now it might be the cleanest $73 a night room you can find, but that bar is lower than I personally want to be at most of the time. So the super budget brands are just not where I'm gonna stay. But again, there are some gems out there, so do your research.
I'm gonna push back and say the super budgets are really nice in middle of nowhere locations, like those national park $70 a night Super 8. I'm not staying there, but the $70 a night Best Western, hey, don't knock it till you try it.
Craig, I don't go outside unless I am required to. I burn inside, so me going to a national park is basically just setting myself on fire.
You can go to the Arctic Circle.
No, actually, you are more likely to get sunburn in the Arctic because of the reflections off the snow.
I've never had a sunburn, so I would not know this.
Yeah, I've I've had many. So, there's
RJ gets
that.
moon burns, everybody.
No, literally I got sunburnt at like dusk before.
Oh,
I am marshmallow. Like I am marshmallow colored.
I'm so sorry.
All right. Lonnie.
Intercontinentals, Waldorf Astoria, Conrad. I actually really started liking Conrads a lot. You've heard me talk about them a lot over the last couple of years. JW Marriott, Weston, when it comes to the Bonvoy program, are the ones that really get my ears perked up, unless it's like some all inclusive resort or themed resort. So, like Hawaii and Oahu, Disney Alani. If you've never been there, you should check it out. It's really great. So it's like that one's a little bit different. That's not like a hotel chain, but it's where I choose to stay. And they got a great water park in the back. Hotels that I don't like, well, so let me go to some of the other sub brands first. I don't actually mind the Holiday Inn. I know it's not super luxurious. A lot of them are really nice, especially inn and suites and those types of things. They're actually really nice. And in some cases, because I am from the Midwest, that's what you got. Staybridge Suites, Holiday Inn Suites. You're not going to find a Conrad after you leave Chicago, where I'm from. Where I won't stay, the closest thing I will do to camping is probably staying at like a Days Inn or like a Super 8. That's for real roughing it for me. Like when it smells wet and it's not really wet, but it just smells wet, those types of places. The ones where you don't want to get under the covers, you just put a fresh layer, fresh sheet on top of the covers, and then just build the bed up again. Those types of places. The ones where you can actually consider bringing your own pillow. Those types. That. Oh, here's one. Not. They don't even have the shower gel attached to the wall. I'm talking about the ones that don't provide you shower gel. It is a bar of soap, and you're lucky if it's still in plastic. It might be from the last people that stayed in there and just sitting on the counter. Yeah, I can't do it. I'd rather sleep in the car, to be completely honest.
I was about to say, I think camping might be a better alternative because at least the likelihood of bed bugs goes down drastically.
The hotels, you can see the box spring. Those places.
Yeah. Yeah. You run at that point. Like whatever you paid for that night is a sunk cost. Go somewhere else. Oh, favorites. I don't know. I'm Mr. Budget, apparently, compared to everybody else on the panel.
We knew that one, Matt. That's not brand new information.
Gee, thanks, everybody. Now, I will say in the Hyatt portfolio, I've been into a couple Unbound Collection Hyatts. Those are really nice, but those are going to vary base because of the Unbound Collection. Like the Eliza Jane in New Orleans is fantastic. Love my time there. But Hyatt, you can't go wrong with a well-maintained Hyatt place. Can't go wrong with a well-maintained Hyatt house. Those are always really good. Nice. You like know what you're getting. You're good. And breakfast is usually attended to. It's not the fancy breakfast. It's something's better than nothing. I enjoy a Holiday Inn and a Holiday Inn Express from IHG. Those are always good brands. Marriott, Residence Inns at Marriott from Marriott are also really good. I enjoy a good Residence Inn. Hilton, I enjoy like the Hampton Inn is usually pretty reliable. Like you're what you're getting. You're usually pretty well set with a Hampton Inn. I will say, like stuff that I'll avoid, I avoid Days Inns as best I can. I will avoid those. Like I will gamble on La Quinta's because La Quinta is the brand in Wyndham that is either excellent or you run. There is no in between with La Quinta, unfortunately. Like decent La Quinta, there are plenty of decent La Quintas. I will not stand La Quinta slander, but I also understand where you're coming from. And that just is. Sub brands I'll generally avoid. There aren't too many besides Days Inns and like bad La Quintas. I don't like the point earning on home twos, but home twos from Hilton are fine. Like you're only going to get 5 points per dollar instead of the usual 10 at a home two, but it's perfectly fine. I haven't had the opportunity to stay at a Spark, but I'm pretty sure that Spark being like their most bare bones budget locations are probably not going to be great. But yeah, no, on the IHG side, like I'm looking forward to doing higher end hotels, obviously, but there are not too many brands that I just like immediately say no after Days In. Because yeah, as Lonnie said, if it smells wet, if it feels wet, and God help you if you see that open bar of soap, nope. Just turn around, walk away.
Just remember, bed bugs are incredibly expensive to get rid of when you get home.
Yes.
when the doors go immediately outside. I don't like those types of
Yeah.
hotels. Nope.
So here's the thing: in the Northeast, those places there are some of those that are fine. The overwhelming majority of those are no, just no bout.
If you're in a resorty area, so if you're in Maine, if you're in the Adirondacks, those actually can be the nicer places because those are the ones that they cater to the people downstate coming for wilderness and
Something quaint.
Adirondack-ness. Yeah, exactly. So it depends on where you are in the country because up here, like there are $400, $500 a night places that open directly outside.
Nope.
I'm not saying you should stay there. I'm saying for the people who are screaming at their monitors, like, I understand you. I don't stay there, but I understand you.
I'll say for those national park stays, sometimes those are the only places there. I get it. Still not my favorite. I'm still pushing a chair up against the door, and I have something for you if you run into my room. No, I would prefer my room open into a hallway, but that's just me.
People can walk by, look directly into your room because it's not that dark because you got lights on. You got that little sheer curtain. No.
Yep.
Or
Nope, that's fair.
let's just shoot our headlights in because you got a bottom floor room. Nope.
Oh yeah, no, in those places, if you're stuck on the bottom floor, just yep. No, I've stayed at a couple of those, and I was glad to check out as early as possible. All right, so thanks, Keith and Double. We've got our next question coming from Kirby G. What is the redemption that gave you the most happiness or pride? Could be from a high cent per point or knocking something off your bucket list, whatever made it your favorite. So, what is your favorite redemption? And Lonnie, I'll go back to you on this one.
That's such a hard one. I have an international trip I'm planning, not planning, that I'm taking at the top of the year. Shout out to 3 free night certificates from the Hilton Aspire card.
That will do it.
Yep. United miles for a cruise last year on the now world's second largest cruise ship. It was the largest when we took it, the Icon of the Seas. That was done with United Miles. When they opened that up, stacked a couple of deals through United to do that. Ended up in a suite. That was pretty sweet. In points boost most recently. So I'm thinking of more recent than like my entire catalog of trips. We'd be here for a while. But a all-inclusive resort in Cancun with points boost, where was a ridiculously discounted rate because Chase in time of year plus instant double. I know it's Kirby's question, but still, I felt like I had to with the points boost. So that was actually pretty good as well. And that's also we also ended up booking the not the I forget what it's called. It's not presidential suite, but it's a ocean view. It begins with a P. I don't remember, but an ocean view suite. We haven't taken that trip yet, obviously, but that was a really great redemption deal as well. Like I've spent more points at regular hotels than I did for this all inclusive. So that was a really great one. Those would be my 3.
There you go. RJ.
I am taking my parents to Hawaii. Most of what their portion of the trip is through Delta. So their flights, all of that. We're doing first class for the continental part, and we are doing Delta One from Detroit to Hawaii. So that's pretty cool. I have 4 stepbrothers who have given my parents grandchildren. I will not be giving them grandchildren, but I will be giving them Hawaii. So I had to even the playing field somehow. Hawaii talks back less, so that helps.
It's fair. Craig.
Yeah, no, this is actually a trip I did not attend. For my mom's 70th birthday, I sent her and my aunt. Look, they are 3 years apart, but only 2 days apart in birthday. But yeah, sent them to Cabo, and that was my mom's first international trip. And so this was back when the Waldorf Astoria there you could get point nights for 95,000. Um, and it's also before I really knew what to do with points. This was 20 end of 2022, early 2023. So I transferred over a bunch of Amex points alongside the Hilton points I already had and sent them down there for 4 to 5 days and then said, hey, charge whatever you want to the card, to my card on the room. It's also once I had actually got my first big boy job, which was nice. So I could afford to do this and not cry at the end of the month. And like it's been what 4 years now. My mom still talks about it, and it's just nice because like my mom had never thought that she would leave the country outside of going to Clarksdale, Mississippi for summer road trips. She doesn't go anywhere. So that was just an experience that like I really loved that I could give to my mother, and that's hands down what I'm most proud about for points and miles. Looking back on it, Spaceco would be very upset based on the cents per point that I got. So
We don't worry about Semper Point outside of the mathnasium. It's fine.
Mother cent per point is different. Like, I don't care if I'm getting hosed. If I can do something for my mom that like makes her happy, I don't care. Like, I do not care at this point. Nope.
Yep. Some of those first redemptions are usually pretty sweet. The first time you can just say like you paid for a thing without paying full price. Doesn't really matter like what your initial cent per point thing is. It's just that feeling. Like the first time I booked a JetBlue flight and it was like all I had to pay was $5.60. That was a nice feeling. Right. I then eventually paid like another $99 to move from like plebeian seat to extra legroom seat, but that doesn't matter. You can't do that with points straight up unless you're like Mosaic 2, and I'm not Mosaic 2. First time you book a hotel room, regardless of the cent per point, but first time you do it and you say, you know what came out of my pocket to make this trip happen? Or to make this stay happen? Nothing. That is a good feeling.
That's a great
Um,
feeling.
so those are always good. I don't remember what the first one was. I feel like it was a Hyatt stay because I was doing Basic Boy at the time. But no, those first ones are always going to feel good, and then you learn how to do the game, and then you learn how to play the game even higher at higher levels where you're leveraging your free night certificate and your like 4 Hilton welcome offers to get 2 nights at a Waldorf now because that's what the point cost is going to be. But you still stay at the Waldorf without any money exiting your wallet beyond the annual fee that you paid and the money that you paid to get the welcome offer. No, those are always going to be happiest and most prideful. Those first redemptions are always good. Pay no attention to the several $1,000s I spent to get those like 500,000 points. Actually, pay attention to them because that's what you did. Anyway, thanks, Kirby. I'm just here to deflate your thinking that, oh man, I did this so super cheap. No, you didn't.
It depends. If you're buying groceries and diapers, then that money was good. If you put it on a debit card, you wouldn't got anything back. At least you
Oh,
got things back.
so much money wasted on diapers.
Yep.
potty
You
training right now,
you
dude.
literally throw them in the trash. I am so glad we are over that.
Yep. Pull-ups are also super expensive. And it's just price gouging at that point.
They have a captive market. Like you can't unless
We
you
have a
want to use natural diapers and go that route. They got a captive market.
we
Those
have a
don't save
conspiracy
money.
theory that big diapers is just trying to keep kids from being potty trained.
Bro, it's that 45 to 60 years between Huggies and Depends. Like as soon as Johnson and Johnson, SC Johnson, Unilever, any of those companies figure out a way to just put them back on us, oh, they will.
Fun fact: when I start my channel, I'm going to be doing some things, some horror stories for travel. You might be needing some adult Depends, but not to spoil anything.
Hard pass. Thanks, Kirby. We'll move to our last question. Comes from Keith, who says, off-topic question. What's your most controversial or worst food take or takes? He highlights that as a New Yorker, he thinks the New York slice is overrated and is just mid. If you're even lucky, reheated 3+ hour old pizza is hot garbage. Sir, no, at that point you just pop the pizza in the fridge, and then cold morning pizza is where it's at, especially if it's a New York slice. Just going to put that out there. When was the last time you had a good New York slice? Depends on where you're going. There's a pizzeria on every corner in New York, and most aren't worth the calories or the money. Gas ovens add no flavor to the pizza, and a wood-fired Napolitano margarita pizza would be his death row meal. And Matt, gluten won't kill you on your death row meal. The gluten could. It won't. I don't want to be sitting on death row like doing the injection and then as they put in that first. Anyway, controversial or worst food take, Lonnie, what you got?
Oh, this one's gonna be fun. Craig, do me a favor, hold my Chicago card.
I already know what you're about to say. We've had this conversation.
Giordano's, Illuminati's, neither are the best. End of story. No up for debate. That's the first thing. Beggars, better than both of them. A Chicago dog actually tastes better with ketchup on it. I said it. I'm going to stick by it. Once again, I've been saying it for years. I will put ketchup on my Chicago dog. I forgot, where were we at? Oh, New York slice. Every time I'm in New York, I get an authentic slice, not the one Penn Station, the place in Penn Station right next to Long Island Railroad. That one's actually pretty good. You fold it, it's really good. There's another one on Broadway, but then you got to be close to Times Square. If you're a real New Yorker, you ain't trying to be around there anyway. But whenever I'm in New York, I get an authentic slice, especially if I'm in my third home, Park Slope, Brooklyn, or as long as it's still there. Take the 7th F train to 7th Avenue. It's on 7th Avenue between 8th and 9th Street. It's on 7th and 8th. It's a little bodega that sells some of the best New York pizza that you'll ever have. End of story. Also not up for debate. And the last bullet on here is P.S. Matt, the gluten will kill you. So I am not going to comment on that. And I'm going to go ahead and bow out from the rest. But those are my hot takes.
The entire city of Chicago is now after you.
Hey, I only lived there. I was not born there. So
there's a subsect that completely agrees with Lonnie. They're not right, but I understand their thought process.
It's the difference between Chicagoan and a tourist. If you say Giordano's or like Illuminati's, you instantly go into the tourist corner, period. Without question, without fail. You're a tourist.
All right. With that, Craig.
So I'm going to continue. So first of all, this is the one that I'm going to get out the way now. All tropical fruit is disgusting. I hate mangoes. I hate pineapples. I hate coconuts. It's gross. Don't even bring me a German chocolate cake. Don't want it. With that said, I am the only person in my household that feels that way. My son, if we let him, will eat an entire thing of pineapple. He had his first bit of citrus fruit mouth burn a few weeks ago, and he goes, "Daddy, my mouth hurts." And I go, yeah. First time. I will also agree with Lonnie. I like deep dish pizza, but it's not the best pizza in Chicago by a long shot. Real Chicagoans, go get yourself some Italian Fiesta. It's not in any neighborhood that any tourist should ever go and visit, but it's amazing. They will give you a hot salad with a half sliced tomato. The tomato's only sliced in half, maybe quarters if you're lucky. And you get a bottle of RC Cola. It's fantastic. When's the last time I had a good New York slice? I don't know. I'm either in the Bronx or I'm in Queens. So those where my friends live. I'm usually not eating pizza. I'm going to Habibi to get a chopped cheese or some lamb over rice with salad. Or we're doing something, but I'm not surprisingly not eating a lot of pizza when I'm in New York. I like it, love pizza, but it's New York. There's you can get anything that you want in New York. And as far as the gluten, Matt, I have come to enjoy your company. We were friends. They were roommates for 30 years. Please do not eat the gluten.
I will say this, I at least appreciate that the casserole from Chicago is now available gluten-free and they will ship it to you
All
anywhere in
right,
the country for about $100.
don't get out of hand now. It's still pizza.
John
Also
Stewart
surprised that
disagrees.
Lonnie didn't say this one, but for those of you, I'm going to put Lonnie on blast. He doesn't like Harold's. And it's not just because it's Harold's. He doesn't like fried chicken.
I
And I
don't
am
like fried
hurt.
chicken.
All right. Craig, thanks so much for that. RJ, your food hot take.
Food is effort, not location. Some of the best barbecue I've had is in the north. Some of the best food that you just wouldn't expect is in places you wouldn't expect. Location does not necessarily have a lock on a style of food. Now, you're going to find more, right? If you go to Texas, you're going to find more places serving brisket, but that doesn't mean I had amazing brisket in New Hampshire. Like, not a place you would expect brisket. It was some of the best brisket I've ever had. So, location does not necessarily mean it's going to be the best. You're going to have more options, I think, is tends to be the thing, right? You have more accessibility to that tradition. Sushi is this bait. I'm sorry. If you like it, I appreciate you. It's bait. Like, I don't, it, no, I don't eat seafood at all, but that one to me is the most bait. Again, if you like it, I respect you. Also, look, I like my steak medium. If you like it well done, and that's just how you want to eat your steak, I don't care. I don't. Like, people make way too much out of you can only have it rare or mid rare or rare plus extra Pokemon edition. Like, just let people eat the food they want. Unless it's something like arsenic laced, just let people eat what they want. Unless it's actively harming them, stop. You're not morally superior for your food choices. Like, you're just not. I'm sorry. You're not a better person than me because you like your steak rare and I like mine medium. You're not. And I'm not a better person because I like my steak medium and not well done. Like,
But
you're
I
just
paid
not.
with an MX Platinum card, so
Unless you're using your Resi cord, I have questions. Questions.
please
No,
continue.
but we judge each other on these arbitrary things because we think it like somehow makes us more moral or superior. And it's just silly. Like, it is silly. Like, I love mango sticky rice. It is one of my favorite foods in the world. Craig doesn't like mangoes. Guess what? I am not better than Craig because I like mango sticky rice and he doesn't. Like, it's a personal preference. It's maybe the most personal preference is what do you want to consume to fuel yourself? So just stop. To get to the pizza question, the best New York pizza I ever had was the last time I visited New York because I had a friend who lived locally who took me to a place where again you do not normally see tourists. It was delicious. I like I'm not discriminatory on pizza. I do believe that Chicago pizza is in fact a casserole, but I am not above eating a casserole because I am this shade. Casserole is in fact a food group. So I'm good with it. I am always going to send you the Jon Stewart clip because it is one of my favorite pieces of media ever, but it can be delicious. I just think it's categorized wrong. So that's my point there. And a Napolitano margarita pizza would also probably be my death row meal. It is one of the finest versions of food there is.
I There was something I was going to say there. Oh, yeah, no. Best not to ask RJ or I what like we define as salads because the salad is
They can have jello in it. They can have mayo in it. They can have Cool Whip in it. There's salad does not mean ranch or Thousand Island or black peppercorn. There are so many variations of the salad.
What's ranch?
It's a life-sustaining thing for the Caucasian American population.
Craig, we brought her in. She did it. We're not the only ones anymore.
Most controversial worst food take. Philadelphia, your beloved cheesesteak, is the number two.
Shut your filthy mouth.
Is the number two sandwich that you produce.
You rat fink. How?
What is the number one?
Oh, pork and broccoli rub.
Oh, I don't eat pork, so I don't care.
I'm sorry.
I used to respect you, Clausen.
I also don't put whiz on my cheesesteak, so there's that.
I'm sorry, you don't do what now?
Provolone.
Provolone.
Let me guess,
is
you put
fine.
mayonnaise on it too, Matt?
No, I don't go that far.
Nah, Miracle Whip.
I get Dukes.
I'm with
Matt
Matt.
actually
I like my
travels with a
cheesesteak
little
with
bottle of
provolone.
QP with him.
Oh, I would
Unless-
bring a bottle of QP.
Unless they do. So I forget which one in Philly does it. They're like across the street from each other. But the one that does the hot liquid cheese, of the hot liquid, almost processed plastic cheddar cheese, I'm okay with that. But
I think
if
that's
not,
Pat's.
I'm a provolone mushroom green pepper. I know it's not even a Philly cheesesteak at that point. I don't care.
It's not, but it's really freaking tasty.
Yes, sir.
I really need to make a Philly cheesesteak this week.
I can't, I have to put it on some gluten-free ass fucking breads. I can't even enjoy my terrible takes.
Just put it over some romaine and call it a Philly
Call it
salad.
a salad. Oh, yeah. I'm going to have myself a Philly cheese salad. Yep. Philly cheese salad.
The best
Okay, you know
part
what the
of a
worst
Philly
part is?
cheesesteak
Wawa
is
has
rarely
done
the
that.
roll.
Of course, Wawa's done that because it was Hoagie Fest and they ran out of bread. Oh, there's an actual order you can do at Wawa?
Oh, yeah, no, I was being dead serious.
I may have lost a little bit of respect for Wawa.
It's bold of you to assume that you had respect in the first place.
Oh, a Sheets man, I see.
No, I am a Wawa person. But let's be honest, no one that works at Wawa respects you enough to care that you respect Wawa.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fair. That is very Eastern Pennsylvania of them.
Which is odd because they have fantastic healthcare and benefits.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I have just set fire to Philadelphia with my take. Last time you had a good New York slice, at least 15 years? No. Yes. It's been a while. And I can't get the good stuff anymore. So there's that. But yeah, no, when I go to Philadelphia, I would prioritize Dinik's at the Reading Terminal Market over most cheesesteaks. But I'll still go get a cheesesteak as well. And I've shocked everyone into silence. Perfect. All right. With that, do we have any final thoughts? We're going around the horn.
It's amazing that baseball is just over, that they're not playing any more games. It's done. It's amazing how that happened.
That is not at all the case. You're just
like
substituting a new reality.
Like forever. Like baseball's
Yeah,
officially
they
done
just
forever.
called it. They're like, we've done 100+ years. We're done with baseball now.
When the commissioner of the sport actively hates the sport and tries everything he can to ruin the sport, they may as well.
Is it even baseball if there's a pitch clock?
All right, that's fair. Craig, Lonnie, any final thoughts?
Nothing on my end, Captain.
Not that I can think of.
Perfect. All right. We'd like to cap off with just some self-promotion. Check out stackyourpoints.com. That will lead you to the Discord. That will lead you to our website as well as all of our channels, those of us who have channels. Special shout outs to our Diamond members, Rex Spleen, Rupert Pond, Double Animal Fries, AP, Keith, and Mitch528. We did have a number of gifted memberships this past week on the live. However, they were all folks who were previously joined, so no special shout outs this week. I know we've done it in the past, but going forward, if you rejoined, we appreciate you. Welcome back. No double shout out, no double dipping the shout outs. So with that, we'll see you next week. We'll see you on the live. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.